3, 2, 1. Good morning, everyone. Welcome again to the EST cast. This is your host, Anthony. Thank you very much for joining us today. So today we want to look at the word hospitality and what you think of that word. Do you imagine the concept as it is described in English? For example, the friendly and generous reception and entertainment of a guest, a visitor, or a stranger. Would you say that's your definition of the word? How would you define the Japanese word omotenashi, aligning with that first word? So think about hospitality and omotenashi. Are they the same in your mind? A quick search online gives you many definitions of omotenashi: to wholeheartedly look after a guest, the subjugation of self in service of the guest, the complete service of a guest, right up to the point of being servile. These are a few definitions that you might find with a quick search online. There are many more, of course, and within the hearts of Japanese people, the definition can differ. Today, we are very happy to have onto the EST cast English Studio Tokyo's own Yukako Atsushi. Now, Yuka, as we call her in the office, is the office manager here at EST, and she handles all the scheduling. She's the main contact point with clients. In fact, if you were to call us and arrange a way for your company or you to improve your language skills, she'd be the one setting things up for you. So, Yuka, thank you very much for coming here on the EST cast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Good morning. How is your Saturday going so far?
It's great.
Very good, very good. The definition of the word omotenashi. So, I'm not Japanese myself. I'm from Seattle, Washington in America. As a Japanese person and someone who's gone overseas for a significant amount of time, what does the word omotenashi mean to you?
I think, all those definitions online that you found, all those are pretty correct. But my definition of omotenashi is more like going beyond customers' expectations.
So in a situation where you're helping somebody, let's say, and they ask for A, you give them A, B, and C, for example, or you just improve A, let's say?
I think both could be omotenashi, but something like plus A.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's not quite B or C, it's more A plus, let's say, right? Okay. Do you think now, in the case of tourism in Japan, people coming to Tokyo, let's say, are there any shortcomings that Japanese may have when travelers are visiting Tokyo? Anything that maybe they're hitting the A, for example, right? But the A plus part.
Well, definitely without a proper English skill. Because simply, if you don't understand the language, then you're afraid of communicating itself, Communication itself is very scary for Japanese people when they don't understand English.
Sure.
So sometimes it can be actually minus A because of that.
Interesting.
Yeah, so even like just giving A, it's not full. So I think that's a very shortcoming. And
sure.
Yeah, so my point is probably not understanding fully of, what the customer wants or requires.
Sure.
That's one of the shortcomings that Japanese are facing.
So in Japanese, for example, were they helping a Japanese customer, let's say, they'd be fine hitting the A, even going beyond, and it's fine. But
yeah, of course.
Because of the English communication problem, maybe, they can't even hit their major mark. That's the main thing, too. Very, very good.
Yes.
So I know some of our listeners may not know this yet. People who follow EST might know it, though. You went abroad for quite a long time, and you went to Canada. Is that correct? And you worked in a bakery.
Yes.
Is that correct?
4 years, yes.
Awesome. Very cool. I love any kind of apple pie place I'll be a fan of for sure. So did you have apple pies?
No, unfortunately.
You didn't have any apple pies?
No, but cinnamon buns.
Oh, well, no, that's actually fine, too. Yeah. I take both, to be honest. Gosh. Okay. Tell us a bit about your experience working in a Canadian bakery.
I mean, of course, that was my first working experience in abroad, and I've learned so much. And I think Japan is famous for, omotenashi and hospitality. But when I actually working in Canada, I found communication level of omotenashi rather than like giving extra service, which is the main point that I learned and which I still love and trying to follow is when a customer, let's say, comes to a bakery and it's not just like, what do you want? What would you like to
it's simple,
buy? And it's simple and then just like buy. It's not like that, the process. But like when they come in, the first thing is smile and like, hey, how's
Sure.
it going?
Yeah.
And just ask some daily.
How's the weather? Maybe
Yeah,
small
how's the
talk.
weather? Yeah, small
Small
talk.
talk's
Yes,
quite important.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Small
Definitely.
talk and compliments, like when someone's wearing a really nice necklace and like, oh, that's a nice necklace. Where did you get it? And then after small talk, what would you like to buy, today?
Sure.
And they pick the item, and before they leave, we probably do a bit of small talk again.
Little chat
and,
too.
Yeah, and then see you later.
Sure. One thing in Seattle, where I'm from, of course, Starbucks is maybe our most popular export. People often, when you go into a Starbucks in Seattle or anywhere in America, they often know your name if you're a regular customer. I'm sure you know a few.
I did.
Do you still know any customer names now? Can you think of any names?
Yeah, and I still remember their faces too.
Wow, interesting. Really cool.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago too. Do you think your experience abroad enhanced, kind of improved your understanding of what omotenashi is in a Japanese context?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I used to, after I came back from Canada, I worked at a restaurant for a short time, and I was definitely the most friendly server at the restaurant, and people loved it. I think Japanese people think like, oh, being too friendly it could be rude.
Sure.
And it could touch
the wrong nerves.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, definitely.
But still, when I did it, people loved it. As long as you have a heart that, you want to give something like warm, welcoming, feeling, reception.
Great,
yeah, then I think it works fine even in Japan.
Very good. So you brought it back to Japan, maybe what you developed, and it worked, and it's great, and people notice it too.
Yes. And eventually people remembers me more than anybody at the restaurant.
Awesome.
And then every time they come in, even though I wasn't serving their table, but like every time they pass by me or whatever, and they talk to me. And
Awesome.
It was great, yeah.
You don't have to be fluent, let's say in an English context. You don't got to be fluent at all to really make a mark on people. I'm sure in Canada you made a few mistakes, but nobody cares.
Bunch.
Of course, yeah.
Bunch of mistakes.
But they remember you as the warm smile, the friendly greeting, the compliment on the necklace, for example.
Right.
I
think I have a good example. So when I was working at a bakery, because I made a mistake in communication and because of my English skill, one customer got angry.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh.
And I didn't realize it. Well, I don't want to talk about the details, but anyways, I made her mad.
Oh, no.
But the other day, she came back and I realized her in the shop and I wanted to kind of made up.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make up. So I talked to her by myself, and then like, I'm sorry, apologies, and
Wow.
and after that, I started small talk with her in a positive way,
Sure.
and then eventually she became a regular, and then.
And one of the friendly faces you're talking about. Oh, great.
Exactly. So every time she came in, she talked to me first, and she was sometimes waiting for me.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, serving other customers.
So there we go again. It's almost like you, and mistakes are going to happen, obviously.
Yes.
I think what you do after a mistake is the real telling story of a person, let's say.
Yes.
In a Western context, for sure, this can happen a lot. I've worked at fast food restaurants before when I was much younger, and I can't think of it now, but I know there were more than a few times when you had to face up to a problem and to actually own the problem, and then from there improve on that. Whether it's a relationship problem, a manager, let's say, there's always a way to go on. That's a very, can't quite say it's a Japanese kind of understanding of things, but very important in a Western context.
Yes.
Not to be afraid of admitting a mistake and improving each time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like people in Canada right now, at the same bakery, for example, do they still remember Yuka? Do they still think about her and wonder where she went?
They still message me.
Awesome. They still do. You keep in contact.
Yeah.
Wow.
They
really
send
good.
me seasonal greetings and
were
how
they
you doing?
were they to come to Japan? Would they probably get in contact with you too?
Definitely.
Yuka, thank you very much for joining us today, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon on the EST cast.
Thank you.
Let's consider again our conversation from today. To all of you managers, company owners, and service providers out there, how are you doing to cover all necessary customer touch points? Global communication skills are something that EST puts at the forefront of its mission to prepare Tokyo for the future, and they're not easy to achieve through mere language training courses. The instruction must be specific to your business and specific to your customers too. Our conversation today with Yuka focused on her direct experiences with customers and how much of this can be applied more broadly to people living in Tokyo. A great customer service experience is not a copy and paste endeavor. Different countries have different expectations, and the communication training given to your employees must reflect this. TOEIC points are not given for smiles, and you shouldn't assume communication skills come from mere English study. Get in touch with us at EST to discover what we're doing to really bring the people and skills of Tokyo to a global level. That will do it for our EST cast today. We look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.